What time is it?
8:30.
8:30 on the notice.
It is 8:30. We're missing one member. He is on the way, but we have a quorum, so let's go ahead and get started with this meeting. We will start with our pledges to allegiance. Stand as you are able. The American flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the Texas flag, honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And we welcome you to the meeting this morning of the San Angelo Metropolitan Planning Organization Policy Board. First order of business on the agenda will be a comment. If anything that anyone in the audience would like to talk about, bring forward to the board for our admonition. That is not on the agenda. This is your opportunity. Form a line at the front. There is no public comment, so we'll move on to the next order of business, which is number 4, which is consideration of the approval of the minutes of the April 14, 2016 Policy Board meeting. The board looked them over. Are there any questions? And if not, I will entertain the motion to accept. Daniel, anybody want to second that? John Austin, any comments? Public comment? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Would everybody say aye? That passed. Number 5. This will be the City of San Angelo's Thoroughfare Plan presentation. John James, the Planning Department Director of the City of San Angelo. You do have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Again, John James, Director of Planning and Development Services, and how do we get the map up? When we started looking at the planning for the county jail facility, and you'll see the location we're talking about when we get the map up. But as we looked at the existing thoroughfares planned for the future in that area, we noticed that there were some things about it that didn't really match up. For example, you can see there the proposed solar project. There's a proposed collector street running to the south of that. And if you could go on to the next slide. Those are basically our constraints. We've got the business park there on the south end of this subject area. There's the solar project, and then up towards the north, there's the county jail project. And let me take a step back and just remind you that what the thoroughfare plan is. The city's thoroughfare plan identifies existing and future major roadways throughout the community, from collector streets, arterials, and but as we looked at this area, as we were reviewing the jail site proposal, we realized that the existing adopted thoroughfare plan, the roadways within that area didn't quite do what we thought it should do for future long-term development of that entire area. So we pulled together staff from various departments of the city, as well as talking with folks at the county and looking at their long-term plans, and came up with this recommendation. And the yellow highlighted routes are newly designated thoroughfares for the area, providing some additional north-south connectivity, as well as some east-west connectivity that is not there in the current plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions or give some more detail about why certain roads were placed where they are, but at this point, I think I'd just open it up to your questions if you have them. And just as a reminder, what we're looking for from you before this goes through the formal adoption process of the city is we're looking for an endorsement of the new thoroughfare plan from this body. It has gone to the technical advisory committee, who recommended approval at their last meeting.
Do we have any questions, any comments? Anything need to be changed? Revised? Does that give you a consensus? Or do you need
It does.
we need a vote on this?
It's actually the next item, number 6.
Okay.
It looks like, but we do need a formal vote so we can take it on to the planning commission and city council.
Okay, so we can vote on it on the next agenda item. This was just presentation.
Yes, well, yeah, it's technically the next item. You're right.
Okay. So that has you,
Yep, I'm good unless you have questions.
No questions?
No question.
Public comment, any questions for Mr. James? And we shall move on.
Number 6 is discussion and possible action to recommend change to the City of San Angelo Thoroughfare Plan. And this is what we will need the vote on. I am open to a motion to accept or deny. Got a motion to approve. You want a second? Do have a motion to approve. I do have a second. We've already asked for questions. I'll ask again for public comment. And if there is none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. A unanimous decision. Number 7 is discussion and consideration of the MPO's fiscal 2017 through 2020 Transportation Improvement TIP Draft Number 2 and any action in connection thereto. That, Mr. Major, I suppose belongs to you, sir.
Yes, sir, it does. All right, if you look at the draft number 2, as we presented it to you, going on page 16 of 36. All of your packets have been marked as what's going on. This is just project number changes. And the following page is the same thing. All we did was change the MPO project numbers. And the following page is the same thing, and this next page is the same thing. And all we did was, we didn't reclassify them, we just put a class designator next to them, and then put them in sequence.
Anything else, sir?
Page 22 of 36, which is right there. This one was a YOE cost adjustment for in Austin. And also the project number was modified and the description has changed slightly. And then on the following page, we've got a YOE cost change. And on both of those two. Page, we have changes in funding for fiscal year 2018, which changes all the totals. And then we go to page 30 to 36. And this one is CSJ 00706-095. This was added. And we modified the project number as well. This is an addition to the group of projects. On the following page, we've got a YOE cost change. And actually, that cost change went down instead of up, like a lot seemed to do. And then the following page, 32 of 36, we had fiscal year 2017 funding by category change. Category 1 went up and category 11 went up. So the total is reflected. And that is the extent of the changes for the FIP.
Housekeeping.
Yes, sir, just housekeeping.
We have a few changes on your totals, and we changed a bunch of numbers.
That's correct.
Any comments from the board? Is there any questions that need to be asked? Anything need to be answered? Everybody satisfied with it? Any public comment on it? And I'll call for a vote if someone will give me a motion in a second to accept. You want a second? Second. I do have a motion to accept as presented. I do have a second to take care of these housekeeping items. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Unanimous on that one.
Who was the
Number-
first motion? I'm sorry.
No,
Oh.
yeah,
Okay.
Mark was.
Sorry, Mark, I
made
didn't see.
the motion and John Austin seconded. I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I couldn't see him. Thank you.
Okay. Number 8, discussion and consideration of the MPO's annual 2017 Metropolitan Transportation Plan MTP draft and any action in connection thereto.
Okay, that's your Voyage 2040 handout. On 86, on the first page, we have some policy board and staff name changes, just housekeeping there.
Right here,
This one right here.
about 6 or 8 pages here.
We put it backwards, I'm sorry. But these are just name changes. Then the next page, which is page 86, is the addition of the improvement to Grand Canal and US 277 intersection. Then on page 87, we had in the MTP, we had an unfunded projects, almost like a title page. It was almost all blank, and the unfunded projects were on the next page, so we brought them over and put them put them on the same page to clean that up a little bit. So it's just housekeeping again.
You didn't add, you just
All we did was move it.
put them in a different spot, okay.
Then on page 96, we changed from simple project numbers to actual project categories to help make this a little clearer. And our categories now, instead of just being simple numbers that are kind of confusing, we're going to go to a category, a year, and a project. So right now, what we did here, these are all of our new project categories. It's housekeeping, but it's to clarify things and make everything more sense. You'll be able to look at the first 2 or 3 letters, and you'll be able to tell whether that's a bridge project, a highway project, public transportation project, just what it is. And then we'll go on from there. And that is the only changes to the MTP that we have at this time. It's all just housekeeping.
Any questions from the board? Everybody satisfied with it? Again, just housekeeping. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
Any public comments on these items, housekeeping items? Then I need a motion to approve.
So,
Need a second?
second.
Second. Got a motion to approve from Daniel V. and Mr. Looney has seconded. Public comment on this item? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Put a unanimous decision on that one as well. Number 9 is the review and discussion of NPO's bylaws, specifically the number of members appointed to the Technical Advisory Committee representing the city of San Angelo. There are currently 3 members. By bylaws state 2 members from each organization. Major?
Yes, sir. The bylaws that were made up originally, as you all remember and you voted on, were going to be 2 members from the city of San Angelo. We ended up with 3. So we need to correct that, or we need to look at changing the bylaws if we break it. And so we've got, if you look at the shaded area, we've got 3 members from the city on technical advisory committee, when there's supposed to be 2. So we either need to correct that, we need to ask the city to correct that, or we need to look at possibly redoing the bylaws if you want to look at
We can narrow that down to Shane.
that. Okay.
I'm sorry, Shane, and
John?
I'll forward the paperwork over to your office today.
Thank you very much, sir.
So that one needs no action other than
No, sir.
the action we just took. Okay, just a correction. Yes, sir.
Hey, Major, just, and I'm sorry, I'm late to the party this
That's okay.
morning. I appreciate this list, you puts it all on one.
Yes.
I haven't seen it listed this way, and I've kind of, this is very pertinent, especially in light of this conversation. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, it doesn't have to be today. Could you add on the grouping for the proxies? And also remind me, those proxies are specific to an individual board member, not an entity, right? for instance, Tom is Mark's proxy, Gary is mine, and they're not interchangeable. Okay. Might help to put who these proxies
We can
represent.
do that. And you can thank Wendy for all this work.
Thank you, Wendy.
And also, we need to change mine, because Johnny Silva's
That's right.
next Wednesday will no longer be on the council.
Do you know who you'd like, and I can prepare for you for your signature next time?
Let me talk with Harry. Harry Thomas will be replacing him. I think Harry would be a good one to make as my proxy. Let's go down, and I will talk to him and verify that he will. I feel that he will. If there is a problem, then we can adjust it next time. Let me talk to Harry, because he will be replacing Johnny. Any other questions on this? Public comment on this? All right, we've taken care of that. Number 10 is the FAST Act presentation per Fowler FWA.
Here, I just wanted to provide an overview of the new programs and provisions of the FAST Act signed into law last year in December. And we're going around each of the MPOs around the state, give the same presentation to give you just a better understanding of what the new programs are, funding availability and so forth under the new highway bill that became the act. The FAST Act stands for Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act. And when it was advanced, see how fast that was? We talked about safety loop. We got previous MAP 21 extensions that led up to the bill, the FAST Act. And we see that the FAST Act was signed December 4, 2015. We had several MAP 21 extensions, I think 5 of them in fact. And we had a number of extensions that were leading up to this 5-year bill. This 5-year, multi-year funding bill is the first pass in safety loop, was signed into law in September 2009. Next. It was signed into law by President Obama, first long-term authorization act in a decade, provides 5 years of funding certainty, and authorizes $305 billion for all modes over the next 4 or 5 years. And $70 billion was made in transfers to keep the highway trust fund solved by Congress. Safety is our North Star in our administration. The focus on highway safety is reiterated within the FAST Act on roadway safety infrastructure and on the safety needs of pedestrians. It removes MAP 21 eligibility and use of highway safety improvement program funds for non-infrastructure safety programs, such as enforcement and education, and prohibits rental car agencies and dealers with leasing more than 35 cars from vehicles that have been recalled but not repaired. For example, the crash bag problem. Highway safety goes on to triple the maximum fine that it's can levy against automaker for violating safety defects from 35 million to 105 million. It doubles the time automakers would have to retain safety records from 5 to 10 years. And it revises the 5-star safety rating system for new cars to show that in order to meet 5 stars, it has to come equipped with crash avoidance technologies like automatic braking and lane change monitoring. Some key facts: we've got $226.3 billion for highways. That leaves us $225.2 billion in contract authority for highway projects around the country. It builds on the program structure and reforms of MAP 21, continues a focus on accelerating project delivery, reducing that delivery time. It adds a new freight formula program and expands the national freight network. And it adds a new discretionary program for freight, national significant freight and highway projects. One of the important Central Texas corridors that come through the region is the I-14 corridor. It's a congressional high priority corridor, and it's going to be on the national highway system. And it generally follows the portions of U.S. Route 190 coming through Temple, Bryan, College Station, Fort Hood, Flint, and Woodville to the Sabine River Bridge crossing at Burge River Bridge at Burge Crossing. So it designates this as I-14, so it's one of the major changes in establishing. Changes in the innovative finance world, it looks like we're going to 71% funding cut for TIFIA loans, but it also allows new eligibility for transit-oriented development and lowers minimum costs for local government applicants to apply for transit-oriented development activities for TIFIA. TIFIA is now eligible under the portion programs, the National Highway Performance Program, the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, and the Nationally Significant Freight and Highway Projects. So it reserves at least $2 million to be used in lieu of fee for participants for loans for project costs less than sharing away. So I can't read it. But
75 million.
75 million, okay. Some changes to the National Highway Performance Program. Now we're looking at funding V2I, vehicle to infrastructure communication, connected vehicle technology being eligible for the first time ever. And we're looking at, under the Surface Transportation Program, renaming it to Block Grant Program. And also making V2I, vehicle to infrastructure communication, eligible for that program area for the first time. And there's also some subsidies for transportation alternatives program and recreational trails. This is how the $226.3 billion that we spoke about earlier is broken out. The $305 billion is broken out. 74% of that is made to the Federal Highway Administration, and we've got about 20% going to transit, and smaller amounts going to Federal Railroad and Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration for a total of $305 billion. This is how the portion, 92% of highway funds are apportioned through these apportioned programs, and National Highway Performance Program is one. The new National Highway Freight Program is another. CMAQ, grade crossings, direct rails, highway safety improvement program, and of course the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program over 5 years. So planning and performance, these are the areas that you probably be most interested in. It's going to require more consultation and participation by public courts, private transportation providers. Encourages the MPO consultation with other types of planning activities, including health, planning, and environmental linkages studies. It changes the selection criteria for MPO officials. There's other changes based on planning and performance measures. These new planning considerations include resiliency, reliability, stormwater mitigation, and enhancement of travel tourism. These are new planning factors that are added on to the ones found under map 21 and safely. And of course, the long-range safety plan must include performance measures and targets. And there's some consequences for states not making sufficient progress on performance targets. TAP has been changed, but it's no longer, there's no name specified. We call it Transportation Alternatives Program, but it's still there. It's just not named the same. There's funds set aside from ST, the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, and nonprofits can pay for local safety programs as project sponsors. Under CMAQ, for the first time ever, we have vehicle to infrastructure communication equipment that's eligible, and we can pay for port-related equipment and vehicles. There's also an exception for PM 2.5 set aside for low population density states. Under the Highway Safety Improvement Program, there's also a new provision that adds eligibility for connected vehicle technology, V2I again, and there's a need to collect data on unpaved roads, and there's some provisions that we can't use the HSIP of the Highway Safety Improvement Funds on those unpaved roads until we have data from the state. Accelerating project delivery is made the same as FAST Act. Is 18 separate visions that talk about flexibilities under delivering projects sooner, faster, and saving time and money. As new flexibilities, it provides some existing provisions that narrows the concurrence requirement for PEL and provides a pilot for substitution of state law for NEPA. Towing HOV, it's probably not really a key item for this area, but there are some technical cleanup for tolling, and there's allows sanctions for degraded HOV operations under certain circumstances. Next slide. Design on the NHS, it allows us flexibility under the FAST Act to look at context-sensitive solutions, context-sensitive design, ensuring that we construct the and conform to the area's environment and community needs. There's cost savings and flexibilities in these regulations that allow for narrowing the lanes, for example, to provide for bus only or bicycle pedestrian type of continuity through the urbanized area. Under highway design, it also adds that the urban design, street design guide can be used in conjunction with the highway safety manual in concert with the green book, the actual design book, to adopt standards for non-motorized users and both motorized and non-motorized users. Local entities, cities, counties that are direct recipients of federal dollars may be allowed to use other design publication that's different than the one used by their state DOT under the FAST Act. Other provisions allows for review of cityways, part of grouped exempt projects. We can bundle those into a single project now and let them as one individual project. The DOT, the US DOT is going to designate a national corridor for all fuels of electric vehicles for fueling corridors, and encourage, there's encouragement in the act for vegetation management practices that improve habitat forage for birds and butterflies, bees and butterflies and things like that, pollinators. Okay, that's next. That's just going. We already did that one. Under freight, there's some FAST Act provisions that are new and of interest. Two new programs. One is formula-based. The other is discretionary. That will, for the first time, dedicate federal funding to freight projects, including multimodal projects in the region. Under the National Highway Freight Program, we've got $1.2 billion a year. There's going to be a portion to the state by formula. It's going to be funded out of the Highway Trust Fund. And we can fund construction, freight, ITS, truck-only lanes, truck parking, project development activities related to freight. And it also uses the funding to complete the state freight plan. And some of the freight money can be used for ports and intermodal facilities that are on the system. And it also increased federal share for freight projects that were established under MAP 21. Nationally significant freight highway projects. This is a discretionary program. I told you there's an apportion program. This is the discretionary program of county grants that are issued over a 5-year period. $4.5 billion is available, funded out of Highway Trust Fund. And we can fund freight projects on the National Highway Freight System Network. And NHS freight projects sets aside Highway Safety Improvement Program funds to fund Section 130 highway rail crossing programs. And state large MPOs, tribes, local agencies, including cities and counties, and federal land management agencies can apply for these funds. OST will select the projects, and Congress has 60 days to disapprove or approve the funding. There's a set aside for rural areas and projects that are below that cost threshold. It's actually a good option. Other freight provisions, the state freight plans are now required, advisory to encourage. We already have those in our state. The state freight plans must be updated on a cyclic basis every 5 years. And the FAST Act requires a BTF to collect annual performance measures for the top 25 ports, and they're going to report performance statistics that require ports with certain thresholds for reporting annually the throughput. And there's national multimodal freight network that's designated within 1 year of enactment. There's also going to be a national multimodal freight policy that USDOT in Washington is going to execute. Under performance management and asset management, there's no new performance measures. MAP 21 released those, and those are the ones that we're still depending on to provide us some data that we need to perform, or to provide information on performance. The other changes are there's freight performance targets that are established, and there's safety data collection on rural roads. And as these NPRMs are finalized and issued, we'll have more training and workshops on those performance-based planning provisions. And that's it. Any questions or comments on the FAST Act? I know it's been a few months, it just came out the door, and we're still looking at final rulemaking on the performance-based planning and metropolitan statewide planning provisions under the FAST Act are forthcoming. As the final rulemakings are issued, we'll be sure to come out and send you this information and provide you some updates and guidance as it is released. So, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Very good presentation.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the board? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You did an excellent job.
Very thorough.
Very, very thorough, very complete. Thank you. All right, Julie Raymond is up next. This is Art in Uncommon Places presentation.
I left calling right after you. I have to where y'all want me. 0 points to.
Wherever you want.
Okay. I have a nonprofit. I'm co-founder of Art in Common Places. We just, we've done several projects around town that you guys have seen. One is the mosaics under the river. And I presented that to this commission probably, I don't know, 12 years ago for the bike and hike path along the Rotorua. And at that time, everybody thought we was gonna do the Cadillac Ranch. And if you haven't seen those cars like this. Anyway, what became of that project was, we got a $5,000 grant from Eva Tucker. We had a donated studio, we had donated help, we had donated labor, and we created $250,000 worth of art for the city, which Art in Uncommon. And then, by the way, we had 3 different entities fighting for those cars, and they ended up along the river. So, the bike and hike path, we have had to combat. It's, and create a whole new, thing of art, which I'd love for y'all to come visit our studio at 701 South Irving. We just did a 1 mile glowstone path that we're the first in the nation. They're solar charged glowstones that gather the light and they they glare their light during the day and they glow at night. And we're the only ones in the nation. So I'm pretty excited about that. As well as I'm just trying to catch up on a few things that we've done. And we partnered with the city with each and every one of these projects. We just lit the Longwood Bridge thanks to Brian Vincent and Principal LED. $20,000 worth of LED lights. They change. I've got the key. They were for Cinco de Mayo right now, and they'll be lit for 4th of July for red and blue. They also have the capacity, which cost Art in Uncommon Places more money than I planned, but we could not lose the capacity of the lights. We had to run a line underneath the bridge, but they can pick up the beat of the music. So with the symphony there, listen, and the whole thing will have a heartbeat to the bridge. It's a beautiful thing if you haven't seen it. And that was a historical site that we adored. It didn't have a really reason to draw people in. Now we're having big crowds come. We have a heart sculpture there. You can put locks on. It's pretty cool. So, but anyway, leading into what you were saying and partner with other entities and things like that, excited about is the bus stops. And I've wanted to do this for a long, long time. And you guys have a structure and it's pretty typical. You can see it at HEB. And I have some visions for those, which we'd love to partner with you guys on this. And most of this, you guys are going to share if you don't mind. I'm so sorry. Got your phone. Okay, y'all can do that. Okay. You have improvement coming up we're over there on Martin Luther King where the chicken farm is. And so this is a pre-existing structure that you guys have, which is like the one at HEB. I think it's my little phone right here. And what I did is we designed what we could do with that. It's just a straight up metal structure, and I was talking back here, and I think y'all have about 10 to 15 of those. In this packet, I have the design for the one on 19, but I also have the locations, thanks to Major and his wife Lucy. They have charted each and every location of where a bus stop goes, what shape the bus stop's in, what we need. So that's given us a big heads up on trying to get ahead of this project. For the one on the 19th, I love Roger Allen. He gave us a start. He created a think tank when we got ready to design the cars, because they told us that we could not mosaic on metal, so that's the first thing we decided we wanted to do. So we got a chemist, an engineer, and a guy that does lost art that's not even here anymore, but an amazing team. And I want to do a great tribute to Roger at that site. So that was what really got me spurred on. I would like to take, in the Red Aurora, we're using gabions, or gabion in French. And that is a wire basket with rocks, which filter water. And so I knew that when we did the Red Aurora, where the flooding is, that would be a good thing. We have two giant gabion men. One is 10 foot tall, and they were both built by Joe Barrington, the artist. A big favor to us, because what he told me I'm gonna insure them for is not what we paid. I couldn't have afforded it. Anyway, they're wire cages. They're in the back of our studio. I invite you to come see them. And we cut out their chest and put rock in there. We also just installed yesterday, my husband, bless his soul, 14 little mile markers, and they're gabions. The cement lids are mosaiced by they're little, we call them the tuffets. You can sit down on them. They're a cylinder with wire, with rock in the side, a gabion. Then we made these cement lids and the community mosaic the top, so we have big buy-in from people from all over. And then we have the glow stones on the edge. So if you run at night, they're gonna look like little flying saucers, which are pretty cool. But I took that concept into Roger Allen's piece. And what I wanted to do around the arms of the piece right here, the legs, is I was gonna wrap that in wire and then put his plates inside there. Also, we're gonna install those plates all around. On the top, y'all don't have one, I'm sorry. On the top, we're gonna take his logo, which is quite, oh, here's the typical structure. It's just that. You guys own 10, like 10, and not all of them are in great shape, nor is the one at HEB, so we hope to help that out a lot. So what we're gonna do is take Roger and build a wire, metal, I don't know how, plasma cut, star keeper that goes on the top, and he'll be holding stars, and we'll have some solar elements in that. But I want to enhance these. I studied in San Antonio under the guy that does faux bosque, which is the cement that looks like wood. If you go there, it looks like a tree. He's made these major bus stops. He's made gatos? Yeah, I can't say, thank you very much. And he's made incredible things. He really went back to, the artist was Dominic Rodriguez, whole book on him. And then he has all these mentors that have trained and are keeping his work alive. And we are courting somebody that's developing that here, so we want to do that. But what I'm telling you is when I went to San Antonio, they have tours of the bus stops. It's bringing, listen, I'd love for, the bus stops are high profile. They're in the most prominent areas of our city. They're used for people that can't, go any other way. They should be attractive. They should have a shelter. They should have great seating. And I have a big passion about this to be pretty too. And so, we would love to be a part of that. I hope you will consider us partnering with this on that. We are very good stewards of our money. And we also have written grants, and it looks like there's some grant availability for that. And I'd love to get on that and have that on the future. We'll probably have our classic styles to have things designed right now before you even begin, because then that helps you a lot to market and go for the grant, which I understand that. But I think Major did an incredible job for you guys. And you can see some visions in the back of this for some ideas that just transform those spaces. They make them where, you want to go and be a part. You can even have, anyway, the tours of those things are just amazing. Anyway, I have, does anybody have any questions for me? That's what I'm here today, is to give you a vision of kind of what we're thinking and how much we'd like to partner with you. And is there anything else, Major, that I should be mentioning?
I don't think so at this point.
Okay.
I love that idea.
You too.
Oh my goodness, that's like a farm, I
How long have we been talking about in this on this board, working and building our bus stops? We even had Home Depot at one time came in here and they wanted to start building it as part of their public involvement. And then it all fell apart, so.
Well, the reason our nonprofit was created, is I'm an artist, my husband is a banker. And I realized the missing gap between those two languages. And so, it educated me to have this spot that I have right now. But we can go to Home Depot and we can coordinate that effort for you. And we would be delighted to do that. Plus, we have a whole, thanks to my 23-year-old assistant, we have a MailChimp, we have a volunteer list that I can send out any time and have people show up. We just mosaicked a vintage fire truck that was donated to us, and we did it in 3 days. We had 30 people every 2 hours. And it's done, it's parked in front of our spot. It's gonna be an incredible piece, but that's the power of our community and the philanthropic of our community.
Your rollout of that with the fire department was amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
And that was really something.
Well, it was a tribute to them, and it was quite, I just have to tell you. We had a phone call, and the gal said,
Anyway, the dad's last day to be a fireman, and the son had just passed the fireman's test and said, "Can we come and be a part of it?" I said, "Yes, but hurry," because there's not much space left. Those 30 people would stay, and then I'd look down my bay. Our studio is 6,000 square feet. It's the old air gas dwelling supply. Anyway, I'd look down, I'd see 30 more people coming in. I'd be like, that we had some school teachers, thank you very much, that would go, okay, come right here, you're gonna be right here, here's your da-da-da-da. And it was just, it was an incredible thing. But the firemen, they got to come and be a part. We had a reception privately for them. They brought their fire trucks from the outlying area. We had like 7 fire trucks in the bay. It was very moving, and I think it was a very beautiful piece, thanks to Kendall Hirschfield. He gave us the truck and he underwrote that so that we could buy. We usually work with whatever donated tile we get. We get lots of beige and white. I try to get color. But anyway, we were able to get glass tile, what makes that thing just zing and pop. And we're waiting on the city. We'll be ahead of you. Just get to knowing to put a mount for that piece. I've been waiting for 2 years, and finally I said, we're gonna mosaic it. You guys can. Our pieces have not cracked because of the epoxy grout, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I would love to present.
I had a question. What about long-term maintenance if there's damage to one of these, or does the nonprofit come back in and make a repair?
I try not to sign up for that because of the age I am,
Yeah.
and I don't know who's gonna follow behind me. You write the grant, I would suggest a maintenance fund. And then that's forever there. We have that in place for the sculptures, the bronzes in town, and we're trying to do that for other things. When we gift it to you, it's yours. Like the city, they've called us and we have repaired things, but I'm trying not to do that because it's just not everybody's best interest. But we do a lot of research. We work with some amazing, the Glowstone Path. I drove all over the state of Texas to get a sample because they were going to use roller compacted concrete. I don't know that, but it just rolls out of a machine, hard, and you can almost work in it in like 3 minutes. They cut me a sample with a saw as big as I am. It was a square line. Done. I'm in. I know what to do. Get on site. They changed the concrete. They changed the concrete on us 3 times. They changed the method 3 times. It was undoing. I had a $50,000 grant from the Health Foundation. And all I could think of is how many jobs I'm going to get to pay that back. But I had Wally, had a bridge in concrete of Reese Albert, And he came and held our hand for 1 week, volunteered, and we got it right. Plus, we worked with the trustees, which are the guys that, the prisoners that put up the lights, do the Habitat for Humanity. And they did this stone as hand cast, a thin layer of concrete on the top, and we power washed. And we found it. So, and by the gifts of my friends, it costs $150 to feed those boys every day. So girlfriends would come wheel it in and they fed them. So it's, you know, we can make it happen. Did I answer your question? I went like that.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for me?
Just appreciation for the work that you do.
Oh.
And, again, I was there at that event as well, got a tour of the studio, and just very impressed with the creativity, and also when we see LB going into the Red Arroyo.
That we're opening that Saturday.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's the
Well,
opening of the Red Aurora, but
Yes.
ours is September the 10th.
Right.
And it'll be the art on the Red A. And so we will have a 5K, we will have a walk, we're gonna have stone carvers, and they'll be there the whole week. And you'll get to walk and watch how they're progressing. We will have rock stackers that'll teach you how to balance without any glue or anything. And then we'll have plein air artists that will spot, and that'll be jury. There'll be either 3 to 5 of them in a spot. And the one that gets picked, their painting will get put on a sign, and you can look at it and see. Terry Maxwell doesn't know it yet, but he's already volunteered. Anyway, he's gonna be drawing flora and fauna in that spot that you see, and that'll go right beside that. But that'll all be on that path from from 4 to 6. We're going to have a cupcake crawl, and there's gonna be 5 locations, and you're gonna get to buy a ticket, and you get an umbrella. And as you stroll, there's a little cupcake pairing with beer and wine and coffee. We all have that already volunteered. And you'll get to see a piece of art, and there'll be somebody playing music, and it will be incredible. So I'm so proud of that Greenbelt. I'm proud of the Metropolitan Planning Commission for being visionaries. We've got to have that. We've got to have it. And we just need to jump out there, because this city, I've got a t-shirt that says, weirder than Austin because we got more art, cooler than San Antonio because we have a real river. There's this bank. And then I say creative San Angelo, and we are, but we need to showcase that in every little place that we can. And I thank you for the opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. That's our #1 cheerleader, right there. Yeah. Excellent idea. Just,
Well,
giddy up.
I'm planning to run the 5K on cupcakes, so I'll.
Yeah.
5K runs.
There is a payoff.
01 is brewing us our own ale. It's going to be the Red A here. And so it is little, they're little cupcakes and little, so, because you're walking 5 spots. Yeah, and that'll be on our website about the tickets, so. Anyway, I appreciate y'all very much.
Thank you, Judy.
And I invite everybody to my studio. Y'all need me for anything?
Any other questions, Judy? Public comment, anything?
Public comment, if I may. As part of our marketing and recruitment effort at the Chamber of Commerce, we do bring a lot of companies in and visitors in from outside of the state and outside of the region. And the public art and all the unique culture is almost always mentioned and commented on.
I will give a tour to anybody that you host. You have
Okay.
planes to, what is it coming up?
Oyster
Oyster
Lanes.
Lanes.
Yes, and I haven't had the time to get a hold of them, but I would
That
love
would be
to
excellent.
host that. and do
We
that.
get asked a lot of questions about that. We do the best we can with that.
Well, right now, we're the only existing art group that does that in town. There's a lot, Plain Air are doing different things, but we do public art at this point. So anyway, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go mosaic a bunch of trees for Miracle Network at Shannon. So I got a crew like, bye-bye, thank you very much.
All right, we are now ready for #12, which is representative reports. Daniel?
Nothing recorded other than what Shannon had last time. Again, we continue with the code program, and of course, the reconstruction, we did have the $16 million for this application that were approved by the city. So those are projects we'll be working on, but again, nothing, so that's the last report.
John Austin?
I don't have anything. Vince, do you have anything to report on, any new developments?
Not really, just, I'm really excited to, we just working on applying for some funding for 5310 and 5339 for some
technologies and other technologies and hopefully some bus shelters in the near future. The process of moving to fixed route, we're really excited about that. Other than that, we're moving to some, in rural areas, we're moving to centralized dispatch, so we should be now having folks basically call the people for all the services that we provide as opposed to making, multiple different calls to different organizations, so we're really excited about that as well.
Thank you. Michael Looney?
I would like to say though that we did have a presentation earlier on the thoroughfare plan, which focuses on the industrial park, the business industrial park. The chamber has a role. We are assisting COSA DC, City of San Angelo Development Corporation, in the marketing of that facility, that project. It is the first certified super park in Texas. Certification means that when a company interested in exploring a piece of land, all the due diligence, or almost all the due diligence that they would have questions about is already done in a 4-inch thick 3-ring binder. That is extremely efficient. Those are paid forward dollars. It's very, very powerful for our marketing. We're the only super park in Texas that has that. And so right now, as it stands, there is so much activity at the park that hypothetically, if everything that was looking at different tracks right now closed, we'd be full. That's how full the marketing efforts have been, and COSA DC's leadership on that park. And new signage is already being discussed at all the major entry points. It's going to look really, really pretty. And so we're proud to have a role in that project. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Stephen Floyd's not here. How about the state? You're not on here, but is there anything from the state that needs to be brought up?
Yes. Kristen, we haven't touched on any of the planning stuff at all? Okay, we need about 5 minutes.
It is all right to talk about the state, even though it's not on the agenda, Major. Wendy? Okay.
And this is not an action item, but it is something that we need to cover very briefly today, and it will drive some more formal conversations in the near future for both Policy Board and TAC. And it's driven by a deadline. At 5 o'clock today, we're have to submit this boatload of information, and there is a major component of that data set that affects the MPO. And I've had to make some calls almost unilaterally that the MPO will need to consider and maybe change as we go through the process, but I need to at least get on the record that we discussed it today before a 5 o'clock deadline. What it involves is the potential, we've been talking for quite a while about our realistic expectation of increased financial resources. Our letting volume statewide is projected to almost double, not quite double, in the next few years, ramping up toward full realization of Prop 7 Fund 2018. Statewide, I think it's going to mean escalating from a baseline letting statewide, 3.2, 3.5 billion, something north of 6 billion. So for San Angelo District and the San Angelo MPO, we may not see that same proportionate increase. We'll see an increase. We were given target numbers to work with, and we're filling out a 10-year plan that exhibits what our expected application of those additional funds would be. We're doing that for our counties, and that's funded basically through our 2 primary bank balance programs, which are our rehab program and our discretionary program. But there is something new for the MPOs involved with this also, and this is why we need to have this conversation today. As you guys know, the small MPOs have lived along for quite a few years without any new funding. That changed part of all of this. And basically, we will be at a baseline that starts at about 4 million and escalates a little bit every year based on these projections. I need to stress these are projections. These are not real construction dollars yet, but we have been given work programs to attach projects to, with understanding that those amounts may change. we need to have the first 4 years fully fleshed out in both the rural and the urban plans. And in the MPO's case, we only have 17 and 18 spoken for. In 17, we have, help me, Kristen, an overlay job on US 87. And that is funded, the only MPO component of that is the portion of category 2U. And that's already there. And so that was easy. 2018 is the tractor trail,
Homeland area and some work within that corridor. You know, it's gonna take money we don't have to complete it, but we'll start incremental
improvements in there most likely. We'll be going through our planning process on about that this fall that will solidify this, but most likely near change at Homeland. But 19 and 20 at this point were not identified because we didn't have any funding projected that far out. As of last Thursday, we do. And what I've done without because we just didn't have time to consult with the MPO and vet it through the TAC and then the policy board, here's the 2 projects we put out there because they were about the right size and we recognize them as needs and they're pavement needs, they're rehab, they're not projects. So what we have put out there, and we'll go into the system today, but we will have the flexibility to change this if it's the board's desire. In 2017, a project on 2105 between New Haven and just go all the way to 208, Tom, Kristen? I got the, or it goes all the way to 87, I'm sorry. A project for $3.5 million, I said $4 million, I think we started out about $3.5 million, it works its way up each year, which would take all of that allocation, a significant 2R type rehab project on, rehab the existing pavement surface on 2105 that has taken some ancillary beating with an overall increase in traffic, somewhat driven by the energy sector. So we took the liberty of funding that. If that is not the MPO, we have a chance to discuss, identify the needs and change this.
In 20, we scheduled an overlay project on East Loop 306. 7 took out 3 all of this section that of those 3 projects expanded it out to 4 lanes over the past 10 to 15 years. So it is about time for the first PM sign. That's what that project represents. So those are the 2 projects in that time frame that we've applied this prospective new category 2U funding to. We'll take that through the TAP, we'll bring it back to policy board for further discussion and formal action, but I needed to at least get that on the record today. The other thing we've done as part of this exercise is, as part of this entire model, we have been given a vastly increased programming authority, which is money I can take and do planning and plan work for, but it's not construction dollars. So in there, we have taken the liberty of going ahead funding or dedicating funding for a future project on the road. Looking at you, Michael, that was one of Phil's initiatives with its, especially with its importance to Goodfellow.
Yeah, it gets heavily trafficked by Goodfellow personnel.
Right. So, and as we discussed before, at this point, we don't know what's appropriate. Just to rehab what's there and expand what's, or not expand, but continue with 2 lanes, one each direction, maybe with a center left, and rebuild the existing pavement structure, basically keep the footprint within the existing right of way, or as a true capacity and expansion project, out lanes, 2 in each direction warranted. We're going to bring a consultant on board to help us work through that, and so obviously we the policy board and TAC will be a vital input into that process. So we're getting all those wheels spun up, but we have also put that project, like say, into our kind of our planning mix as part of this entire effort. So, Kristen, what did I miss? Okay. Like I say, no action required today. I need to throw that out there for conversation and maybe talk more about the specifics on it, the mechanics.
Okay. Okay, and those were 19 and 20 bucks?
19 and 20, yes, sir, and I can give you, and Wendy, more, a prettier version than this. But Christian, thank you for breaking it.
Very good. Public comment? Well, that's good news. Let's move on to number 13, which is discussion and review of organizational reports. Director's monthly staff activities report.
April was a busy month with a new director on board. There was a lot of training going on. The same thing in May again.
How's that?
It's going great. It really is. I'm learning a lot. I'm having a great time.
All the different agencies of the city and different departments have just been so helpful, and they've all welcomed me at every turn, and it's been fantastic. And of course, we've had a lot of interaction with CBTD, with the TIP and everything that they've got going, and that has been going extremely well. So it's been a lot of fun. It really has, and I look forward to it continuing. But we really were busy, Wendy and I both, trying to get, seems like webinar that pops up every week. And so we're constantly those, and when I'm not available, she jumps in on them and then fills me in later. So it's been extremely busy, and it looks like it's just going to continue, which is a great thing because we're definitely not going to get bored. So it's going very well. Thank you.
And financial report, while you're working.
All righty. Well, financially, we're
Right where we should be with our, if you look at our budget, right now, we've billed at about $74,768. Our budget is right at $230, so we're actually under budget at this point in time. We don't have to worry about adjusting the budget for any needs coming down the road unless it's just changing from one bucket to the next. But salaries, of course, we went through a period of only one person here, so we're down below on that. Also went through a period of only 2 people here instead of 3, so salary, which was a good thing because that put us under budget. So anything that comes up here between now and the end of the year, we're funded and we're gonna be okay. But we've got about $150,000 remaining. We've only billed 74, so we're in great shape.
Any questions? Public comment? Move on then to item number 14, opportunity for members of policy board or MPO staff to recommend topics for future discussion or action. Final approval 217-220 transportation improvement plan, and B, final approval of the 217 metropolitan transportation plan. Anything?
But going back to the item I just discussed, I'm sorry, but Kristen, we've been trying to figure this out as we go, just the last few days, this whole planning process. We just tried, I don't think it's necessary to have formal meetings like next month or anything. Do you use that kind of work?
I don't think we can until the funding's official.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You want
All right,
to,
I just want to make sure.
do you want to put that one tentatively on July?
At least as discussion, and we'll go from there.
Do you want it to be on the top for this month?
It wouldn't hurt, I can at least make the same presentation.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I would like to put on the agenda for next month a discussion of the MOU between the MPO and the city. Daniel was kind enough to meet with me about it. I went from there to legal department. Teresa was kind enough to send me what she says everybody agreed to for my review. I believe John, both of you guys, John and John.
Have been looking at that.
You both are working with her on, so I've got this now. I plan on coming by your offices instead of asking you time and come here. And we'll discuss it, make sure you don't have any questions, discuss anything that I have, and then bring it before the board next month. So that's good.
Anything else? Next meeting, June 9th at 2:16 at 8:30 a.m. Is everybody happy with that? Item number 16 is always my favorite. Move to adjourn. It is 9:35, this meeting is over. Thank you.